let's just go back down Epstein memory lane for a second. Right, first she gave the binders to the influencers, then the list was on her desk, then there was no list, maybe no desk, in fact. Okay. Then it went. then it went from this is a Democratic hoax. We can't release any of this. They told Republicans not to sign on to the bill. If they signed on to it, it was a hostile act against the White House. Then they brought Republican members into the Situation Room, the place where we go to war. Right, and basically promised them things in their district, threatened them. Pam Bondi was in those meetings. Okay, in the Situation Room. And so, let's not have the most transparent, administration in American history. They tried to cover this up and keep this from ever coming out. And it only was because Congress pushed it on them that we are where we are. Look, that being said, I find it interesting that Comer's doing this in a deposition. What, he doesn't want a public hearing? What, the last one didn't go well for her? Okay, so we'll have to see how this all goes down. I'm happy to help Comer out. Okay, I'm happy to help come around.
Wait, but let's stay on this point about why they're choosing to do this behind closed doors, because in the past, part of the sort of rationale for doing it behind closed doors is let's see what you have and what information you're willing to give us.
No, they're hiding her now.
Correct.
Yeah, they're hiding her now.
And so then what happens, right? Because if she goes in and plays the same game in private that she has played in public, where it becomes, her burn book, her reading off accusations about anyone who deigns to ask her a question, well, that's not really probative. So then what do you do? Yeah,
no. The strategy here is they voted on the subpoena, so they have to do that, okay, and then put her in the deposition without TV cameras. Right? This is not maybe she'll change strategy. No, they do not want her to do another hearing. That hearing was a total debacle for them. By the way, now that the Dow is no longer at 50,000, it's at 47,000, can we go after sex predators? Is that can we do that now? Because that was the excuse of why we shouldn't be asking any of these questions. So, look, I don't know what the deposition with her is going to be like. I don't know that she's going to give out any more information. We have a ton of questions, like why are millions of documents still redacted? Why did Ghislaine Maxwell get moved to that minimum security prison?
She's saying in a statement she makes herself available to speak directly with members of Congress.
Oh, I'm sure she does. Okay. I mean, you saw the hearing. The American people saw the hearing. I mean, look, I'll ghostwrite her burn book on James Comer, if we want to make it bipartisan, if that's what she's going to continue to do. Happy to do that. I have some stuff to talk about James. But he's doing her a favor. This is the administration saying you're going to do it in a deposition, you're going to do it in the basement, and there's not going to be any TV cameras based on the debacle of that last hearing.
Is there a legal difference in terms, because I just, when I first heard about the Pam Bondi subpoena, all I thought about was John Mitchell, who was Nixon's attorney general, obviously, in 1975. He was convicted. He went to jail. He served about, 18 months? But he was convicted on obstruction, perjury, I think conspiracy, obstruction of justice, perjury, conspiracy. Is there obviously when she's before Congress, she is under oath. And so there is a duty for her not to lie to Congress. We don't want her she doesn't want to perjure herself. Is there a different legal jeopardy for her in this deposition?
No,
or is it the same situation?
Same situation. She'll be under oath. But look, we already had Kash Patel lie in Congress on this issue, right?
Is he going to go to jail?
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out once we get the gavel in November when we win elections. But we should definitely look into that. I mean, he came to a committee and said Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files less than 100 times. He said Epstein only trafficked girls to himself. There was nobody else. We know that's not true, right? Because we got the list of co-conspirators. So they already said stuff in the hearings that turned out not to be true. Kristi Noem, I think, perjured herself in the hearing the other day on the fact that, these contracts and whether she had any knowledge of it or whether Corey was involved. So, we'll have to see what Pam says in the deposition. This allows the Republicans in the middle of the deposition to come out to the TV cameras and frame what is happening in the room before we get to see any of the transcript. That's why they like to do this. It allows them to come out and kind of frame the narrative rather than the American people seeing it with their own eyes and listening it, with their ears. The Judiciary Committee was such, I think, a debacle for the Attorney General that there's just no way the Republicans are going to put her in that situation again.
But that works. Which brings me back to my first question. What's the point of tomorrow? What is the point of any of this if it's going to be done this way? What is the expectation? The Republicans are going to come out and they're going to frame it. They're going to say, hey, this is what it is. This is what it was. This is how it's always been. What is the opposition's approach to tomorrow.
And why are they being briefed tomorrow?
And yeah, why are they being briefed tomorrow? And what? Because this, again, the administration don't want to talk about Epstein. They don't want to talk about any of this. They don't want to talk about none of it. And we know that. And so if they have the advantage of being able to shape the conversation by whatever formal mechanism, a subpoena hearing or whatever in a closed room with no cameras, then coming out to the mics, what's your counterplay, bro? What do you guys do? Because you're swimming against a tide where they're already out to sea.
Yeah, I think the reason why they're coming to do that briefing is we've seen the administration do it. Noem just did it. Noem released billions of dollars in money she was holding in DHS for a whole year, 2 days before she appeared in front of the Senate. Then she released money for North Carolina because she was getting questioned by Tom Tillis. This is DOJ's trying to go in and get some stuff out of the way before she winds up into that deposition on the 14th. Look, I think Democratic members need to hammer her in that deposition, okay? This cannot be a lot of these depositions where it's very cordial, it's very nice. No. They need to hammer her in that deposition, okay? And not just let staff do the questioning. So a lot of these depositions, it's Democratic staff versus Republican staff. The members need to step up. The members need to come with the specific questions and get her to figure out why did you do this then versus now? Why did you do that then versus now? Why did Kash Patel say this under oath, right? Why did you say this when it wasn't true? Why did you say the list was on your desk? What list was on your desk? Did you misspeak when you said that?
And to your point, was there a desk? You referenced the thing that she said about, well, we shouldn't even be asking me these questions. Look at where the Dow is. Today on CNBC, Kevin Hassett had to say this about what a prolonged war with Iran could mean for the American economy. Take a listen.
If it were to be extended, it wouldn't really disrupt the U.S. economy very much at all. It would hurt consumers, and we'd have to think about, if that continued, what we would have to do about that. But that's really the last of our concerns right now.
Wait. Are consumers not part of the U.S. economy?
Oh, Kevin.
The consumers are the last of their concerns right now. It's like, this comm shop, it's a tough day at work every day.
I mean, you're looking at me. These were the people who said affordability was a hoax for a couple of months until someone showed the president the polling on that, right? And so, look, the American people are paying 70 cents more per gallon at the gas pump. Airline prices are going up 30% because the fuel costs are going to be just passed on to the American people. You're going to see food costs go up because all the transportation of food, right, is all that fuel costs are going to be passed on the American people. So I don't know if the administration wants to get back to the talking point of, hey, prices don't matter. It's a hoax. Everything's just going to be fine. Pay no attention when you get the bill in the mail or when you get the bill at the grocery store or the bill at the pump. That's not going to work. It didn't work for them when they were trying it a couple months ago. By the way, it didn't work for Democrats when we were trying to tell people, don't pay attention to the economy, Bidenomics, everything is great. You can't tell people how to feel when they see they can't afford to live. But hey, look, let them try it. Let that be the message all the way to November. Okay, Kevin, keep at that.